Of the great cities of Australia, it was now the turn of the capital of Queensland, Brisbane, to prepare its welcome to Her Majesty and the Duke. Close on 640,000 people inhabit this subtropical town, and from state government higher-ups to just ordinary folk, they were in a holiday mood as Britannia came towards her berth in the Brisbane River. As all the state capitals hug the sea coast, the royal yacht is now a familiar sight to millions of Australian people. Not all spectators crowded the riverbanks as Britannia approached. Many made sure of a closer view by going afloat. Fully 1,000 small craft joined in the welcome. Fortunate indeed in their climate and geography, Australians revel in open-air life to an extent we're beginning to envy, as week by week we see these pictures of the royal tour. On behalf of Queensland, Her Majesty and the Duke were greeted by the Governor, Colonel Sir Henry Abel Smith. His wife is closely related to the Queen. Before her marriage, she was Lady May Cambridge. At her wedding, the Queen, then 5, was a little bridesmaid. From Newstead Wharf, the royal couple drove to the City Hall for the civic welcome. "60 miles from Brisbane, at Coolangatta Beach next day, a surf carnival was scheduled. And then, of course, it had to happen. Rain, drenching rain. And imagine the disappointment to the 10,000 people who'd gone there to enjoy a wonderful day. Still, there they were, determined to stick it out and make the Queen feel welcome when she arrived. It was no less a disappointment for her, but everybody put a brave face on it. It was no day for photography, but though some of the sport was going up the spout, not so our films. Our camera team includes men of resource. Decision of the committee, the show must go on. There are 850 lifesavers in Queensland attached to 48 clubs, and between them patrolling all the state's major beaches. Every year they save hundreds from drowning. Swimmers along this coast and surf riders have the Pacific rollers to contend with. The canopy of the Queen's dais became so full of water, something had to be done about it. The show went on all right. Conditions would have had to be a lot worse to make these chaps admit defeat. It's in surf like this that they carry out many of their rescues. The surf riders, as well as the lifesavers, put on a good show. Justly, the pride of Australia now and for a long time ahead is the Snowy Mountain Hydroelectric and Irrigation Scheme, the vast 3,000 square mile project to create power and also turn great arid areas into fertile country. The Queen and Duke spent a night at Edinburgh Cottage, a prefab bungalow originally built for Prince Philip when he opened the Olympic Games in '56. It's nearly 5,000 feet up. The first of the 9 major dams of the project is Tumut Pond, the visitors' first glimpse of the Snowy Mountain scheme. In the old days, when the mountain snow melted in spring, the precious water rushed headlong on its short journey into the Tasman Sea, irrigating no land, producing no power. What the Queen and Duke now saw at the Tumut Dam, which their friend Sir Robert Menzies opened in '58, was the dream turning into reality, as the water is trapped, held back and diverted to bring life to the land and benefit to man. And as the only big handicap Australia's ever known is shortage of water, the Snowy Mountain project holds unbounded promise. One part of the great scheme, which will be working 3 years from now, is the Murray Power Station. This too has the double purpose of generating about 1.5 million kilowatts and providing water to irrigate land now barren. In the bracing air of these high altitudes, it's exciting to listen to the engineers enthusing over the potentialities of a snowy mountain ski. It's the kind of big conception a big country encourages, carried out with all the drive characteristic of a still youthful nation. The dam at Kathiga, completed 8 years ago, impounds the water of the Snowy River's upper reaches. No longer does the swollen stream rampage every spring on a mad rush to the sea. It feeds the power station. The electricity is generated at 12,500 volts and stepped up to high pressure for transmission to the consumers of New South Wales. The Queen wore protective clothing and a fiberglass helmet to go in the tunnel, which, when completed, will form a 9-mile connection of the Geehee and Snowy Rivers. She and the Duke went as far as the working face 2 miles in. The big project is studded with man-made lakes, illustrations of nature harnessed to the needs of man.